networking is one of those things that we're not taught about, right? We don't go to school, go to business school. We don't go to college and learn about networking, learn about referrals. We learn about business. We learn about advertising. And the biggest issue that most people don't realize about networking is it's a long-term strategy. With BNI, we call it giver's gain. If I do as much as I can to help other people, it will eventually come back to help me.
Welcome to the Paid to Create podcast, where we dig into the secret strategies of successful creators making a lucrative living. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I just have to tell you about Kartra, the marketing platform that has seriously transformed my business. You know how running a business can be insanely time consuming, right? Well, Kartra has been a game changer for me. It's honestly like having an entire marketing team in my pocket. And what I love most is that it automates all the tedious daily tasks for me, from marketing to sales to even customer experience. I can't believe how much time and energy I've saved since I started using it. And get this. With Kartra, I can create websites, funnels, courses, membership sites, email campaigns, calendars, surveys, you name it. It's made managing my business so much simpler and more affordable. Honestly, I can't recommend Kartra enough. If you're curious, head to paidtocreatepodcast.com/Kartra to start your trial. Trust me, you won't regret it. Hey everyone, welcome to the Paid to Create podcast. I'm AJ Roberts. Alongside me as always is
Sarah Jenkins. Hi.
Hey, and today's guest is Steve Black. Steve Black owns a custom window treatment company in Texas, and he's also the executive director and owner of 3 BNI regions in Texas. And Steve's superpower is referrals and networking, and so we're going to get into that today. His story is quite unique. You notice he has a better British accent than me. I'm jealous he didn't lose it, but he moved to the States in 2000, and so I've actually been here longer. So, Steve, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks very much for having me.
Good. Glad you're here. So, you moved from England to Texas. You start a window treatment company, and then you end up in BNI. Walk us through that experience.
Yeah, I want to back it up just a few seconds. I mean, I came to Texas. Why did I come to Texas? I'm probably one of your first internet dating relationships. Met my wife online in 1996. I don't know if computers were around too much back then, but yes, and we're still going strong, which is really cool. So yes, move forward. Let's get on with talking about business. BNI was one of those, it was just luck. I did custom window treatments. I was starting to build my network. I'd only been in the country, 4 or 5 years at the time. So I didn't know a huge amount of people. It's like being 5 years old and moving to a new school. Haven't got a clue who you're going to meet. And then a connection I had, who was an interior designer, invited me to a BNI meeting. She was somebody that I'd connected with, started to do a little bit of referrals with, if you like, before I even knew about networking and referrals. And I attended the meeting and said, yep, this is something I want to do. So they did the presentation, did the meeting, and I said, I want to sign up for this. I signed up for 2 years, and my first 3 months, not a single referral. You know what it's like? You buy something, you buy a course, you buy something, and you've got this buyer's remorse. Is it going to work? I was very fortunate. My first referral covered my investment for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
From the first referral. Oh, great. Let's give it another 15 years. Let's see how it goes. And it just got better and better and better. The more I got into the networking, the more I got into the referrals, the better it became. And here I am now. There was a lot more steps along the way, but if it wasn't for that original invite from Anne, I would have still been selling window treatments back in Austin.
Yeah, I think what's interesting there is you mentioned it. It took about 3 months to get that first referral, and then that first referral was a big one, right? But a lot of people will go to an event, whether it's BNI, whether it's a business networking event, and that their first experience isn't always the best, right? And whether that's because they don't know how to show up, or whether that's because, they're in an environment they're not used to. So what kind of do you see having, you gave it 3 months, but most people don't. So what mistakes do most people do when they first, go to a networking event?
Networking is one of those things that we're not taught about, right? We don't go to school, go to business school. We don't go to college and learn about networking, learn about referrals. We learn about business. We learn about advertising. And the biggest issue that most people don't realize about networking is it's a long-term strategy. It's not a fix to fix a failing business. It's not a way to suddenly get lots of new clients. If you want to do that, you've got to pay money for advertising and have an offer, a special offer, whatever it is. I was lucky that it only took 3 months. You've got to look at the type of business as to how quickly it's going to happen. And there's a story we tell as part of our training where you've got this financial advisor and you've got a florist. And the two are going to have completely different experiences with referrals and how quickly they get them. And you've got to think about the risk involved with investing with somebody like a financial advisor and the risk of buying a bouquet of flowers for $100 and it not working out, right? I mean, if I refer my mother-in-law to go get some flowers from a florist and they end up being delivered dead, guess what? She's going to be very unhappy with me for a very long time, but it's only $100. If I refer her to a financial advisor who loses her whole life savings, completely different experience. So it takes a lot longer depending on the type of profession you are. I can pretty much say if you're a florist at a new BNI chapter or networking, you'll start to get referrals fairly quickly because there is low risk, low information. Financial advisors, totally different game. Now with custom window treatments, they're not cheap. So 3 years was good for the amount of investment for me. It should have taken me a lot longer. I was just very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. And again, that comes down to networking. If you're networking in the wrong place, guess what? Your results are going to be terrible and it's going to take even longer. You network in the right place, you meet the right people, you get the right connections. With BNI, we call it giver's gain. If I do as much as I can to help other people, it will eventually come back to help me. Right? Pay it forward, giver's gain, doing for others without any expectation of something in return, you're going to end up with good results over the long term. So yeah, if you're going to get into network and you want to learn to network, it's going to take you a long time. You may be one of the fortunate ones, the lucky ones that get it fairly quickly, but I would not expect a return straight away from networking. And if that's what you need, find some other way to sell your goods, sell your services.
Well, I almost think that's why networking might be sort of like a dirty word, right? We say, oh, we're going to go to a networking event, and then everybody you meet has an agenda of getting you to buy what they've got or getting your contact for some other reason. But you seem to play like a longer term strategy, like you said, that give first, right? Yep. Which is good. But I think a lot of people miss that part of the networking piece where they go expecting some sort of return on that relationship right away. And that you're not selling flowers. You're selling something that's a little bit deeper, a little bit more of longer term investments. It's like, what advice would you give to someone that's going to network that doesn't know how to play that long strategy?
So let me ask you guys a question. Whenever you go to a networking event or a conference or a seminar, do you actually go there to buy something?
No.
No.
Right. Well, if you're not going to buy anything, why do you think everybody else is? Right. I mean, if you think about networking, Dr. Ivan Meisner, he's the founder of BNI. He's given a great quote about this. It's network. It's not net sit, net eat. Right. It is work. But if you go expecting people to buy and yet you're not willing to buy yourself, it's just like this complete disconnect, right? You're not going to be able to go in there and sell if nobody is going there to buy. Now, you go to a trade show, you're expecting freebies, right? You're expecting gifts. You're expecting to go around the table, fill a bag full of goodies, go home and do whatever you need to do, give it to the kids, whatever you've got. You go to a store to buy something. But you go to network to build relationships. And you can't build a relationship by just meeting one person once and hope it's going to work out. It's kind of like dating, right? Silly question. Are either of you two married?
Yeah, both of us.
Right. How long have you been married? Let's ask the question. I don't mean to each other. Let's go,
Well, this is a terrible question for me. Which time do you mean? The first, the second, or
hey,
the third?
I'm on two. We'll go for the. Actually, let's back up a bit. Instead of asking how long you've been married, how long did you date before you got married?
Okay, for me, it's it's averaged about 9 months.
Yeah.
Sarah makes decisions quicker. For me, it's a few years typically. Right. But I've been with my wife for 8 years now.
Right, congratulations. So think about it. This is my second. We've been together for 22 years now.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. But I tell you what, I didn't suddenly meet her once and say, let's get married.
Right.
Right? Well, it's the same with networking. You're not going to go to a networking event and say, hey, great to meet you, buy this $10,000, whatever it is you're selling. networking, like, go back, it takes time, and you're building a relationship. You're not building a net. All right. You're actually going there to get to know people. You're getting there to build a relationship. And every time you attend that event or another event and you meet the same person, your relationship is getting stronger. So if you're going to a networking event once a month, you've only seen somebody 12 times in a year. How long does it take to actually build that relationship?
Oh, that's so funny. Our friend Grant will always say, you don't ask the first person you dance with to marry you. You dance with many people at prom or whatever.
Well, it depends on how rich they are or how good they look, right? I mean,
but I think that concept transcends to everything, right? When you look online and you look at, and again, you mentioned something that's key. It depends on what you're selling, the price of it, and whether like the necessity, right? Like if you're selling food or like something like you're a vendor of something that someone uses on a regular basis, or they have many occasions like flowers, there's birthdays, and there's Women's Days and Valentine's Day and there's all these events. But like you said, a window treatment or a new roof or like a plumber, or like there's only going to be so many times that is actually a necessity, right? And but if you're the top of the mind, you're going to make the sale. Online, it's the same thing, right? Like if you just send one email out and say, hey, buy my stuff, like not many people are going to build it. But if they've been following you and listening to you and they've seen you on stage, like my best customers have always come from people I've met at events. They've seen me speak. They followed me for years. And then all of a sudden they'll join a coaching program or a mastermind, right? That because the value of the investment it costs them so much more, but it's one of those big decisions, right? And so whether it's offline or online, I think this idea of relationship marketing is really where we are as a society right now, where it's more than ever. You might not be friends with somebody in the sense that like they're coming over to your house and you're breaking bread, but are they having conversations with you on a regular basis? Are you communicating, educating, teaching them on a regular basis? And I think that's what you're kind of hinting at here is like when you go to these events, what you're looking to is like your first thing should be, okay, who in this room should I begin to build relationships with? So if I'm going to one of these events, like who is the right people for people to build relationships with? Because there's obviously a lot of people in attendance, and it's kind of, sometimes you're kind of wondering, who should I connect with? How do I do that? And yeah, it's scary to have a conversation. Like, what if I have the wrong conversation or say the wrong thing to the wrong person,
every time?
Oh yeah, and it happens. I mean, come on, Nelly. There's a lot of things that we can do, but you can guarantee that at least once we're going to put a foot in it, right? We're going to make a mistake when we're actually talking to somebody, say the wrong thing. I've done it plenty of times. I think I'm very fortunate with the English accent. And you probably found this at the beginning, AJ. It's like they forgive you for nearly anything because they think you've got a cute accent, right?
Well,
you can get away with stuff.
The British accent is the most trusting accent.
It's an accent, right? There was a couple of friends of my wife. She obviously from here, but we met. We got to know them. Their kids were in school together, all this kind of stuff. And to me, it's just like mind over matter. And I said, yeah, it's mind over matter. Absolutely. I don't mind. You don't matter. And
that's amazing.
I know. And
we're going to come back to that.
Yeah, they took it so well. And I'm thinking, okay, I've got to be careful how many times I use that and who I use it with, because you will have somebody that'll, take it the wrong way.
I respect it. I like it. I might need some custom windows.
Yeah, we go back to the relationship marketing I'm talking with online. I want to explain how I managed to find Kartra and how I managed to get online. As most of you know, there was a little bit of a pandemic back in March of 2020 where the whole world shut down, right? And BNI is an in-person networking event.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's in-person networking meetings. And what happened between kind of December when it was in other countries before it came to the US, our CEO, Graham Weimiller, actually managed to get 10,000 Zoom accounts. And we moved every single one of our BNI chapters online in the middle of March across the world. Now, we've got nearly 300,000 members, and at that time, just under 10,000 chapters.
Wow.
And they suddenly went to networking online on Zoom meetings. Yes, that's why I use Zoom. We mentioned
So you
that at the beginning before
self-funded
we started.
Zoom, I see.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what I do, if I'd have known what I'd have known when it happened, I would have bought stock before. Right? 'Cause we got a week's notice and then suddenly got all these accounts. So we were in a position where we managed to transition. Now, it was a struggle for a lot of people doing online versus in person. I personally like it because it's easier to switch on a computer in the morning than it is to drive 30 minutes, go to a networking event, shower, shave, all the fun stuff. But with all that change, we had to find a new way to actually engage, because screen to screen videos, it doesn't feel the same as in-person networking.
Mm.
And it's what you're used to. So when we go to that relationship marketing, it doesn't matter whether you're selling courses online or you're selling products online, you've got an in-person store, you need to know that the person that's going to buy from you is the person you want. Right? It's your ideal customer. It's your ideal person to buy from you. Networking is not about your ideal customers.
Mm.
Now, a lot of people use networking, I want to find new customers. No, networking should be about your ideal referral sources. Like a JV partner in the digital world.
Right. So like our affiliates, those.
Yeah, your affiliates, exactly.
Sometimes those affiliates, like for example, one of our top affiliates is an expert at paid traffic, and so he's just driving traffic to our assets. Right. He doesn't really build his own assets. So the actual product, although he's tested it and he does use it, like he doesn't use it till its full capacity that one of our top customers would, right? What he's doing though is saying like he's driving traffic, the right people to us, and that is the relationship. So ultimately what you're saying is when you're attending a networking event, what you're looking for is a person that is either connected or has their own network of people that would be the ideal customers. So you're actually looking to build a relationship with the gatekeeper, so to speak, of a community that you are trying to enter.
Well, what's so funny is you said you're in Texas and you do custom window treatments, and I have a very custom home. So I was like, oh shit, I might need that. And then I thought even further, I was like, my sister-in-law's dad does custom homes in Texas. I should connect you to. So that networking goes further. Back you
up here. So I didn't correct you at the beginning. I actually sold the custom window treatment business to do BNI full time.
Oh, okay.
Darn. So I literally network for a living, which is even more fun. And to be honest, custom window treatments I kind of fell into. I was very fortunate that I did, but I'm colorblind, so I'm not really good at it.
Well, I mean, but that's cool because you have this thing, and now you see that the networking that you've done, even with me, I'm already thinking about ways I could connect you in my own circles if I have, a value in your products. But then if you're doing now BNI, your number one source of income is networking. What does that look like?
So the number one source of income for me is a BNI membership. I currently have just under 300 members in a part of Texas. It's a franchise. There's 186 regions in the U.S. There's 13 regions in Texas. I own 3 of them, and I've got just under 300 members in 13 BNI chapters that meet each week. And what they do is they get to know each other. We teach them how to ask for referrals, what sort of referrals to ask for. And the program is attend a weekly meeting, talk about your business and the ideal referral for you, and the other people in the room will, like you did with custom window treatments and custom home builder, identify people that would be a good fit to refer to me. And sometimes it's customers. Sometimes it's the custom home builder that could send me multiple customers, right?
Right.
And that's that's BNI. The problem we get with BNI, and this isn't a bad thing, you end up with a chapter of 30, 40, 50 members, and not all of them can refer to each other. It's very unlikely that somebody that's a custom home builder would be able to refer to a life coach because they're not in the same industry. However, you put a realtor, a mortgage broker, a home inspector, a custom home builder, an insurance agent in the same room as each other, they end up referring to each other on a regular basis. And what you've got with the BNI chapter is multiple pods within the chapter that can refer to them. We call them power teams. So you have the real estate power team where they can refer to each other. You have the business-to-business power team they can refer to each other. So having a larger team does help you because, yes, you'll get occasional referrals from those that aren't connected to because they know people that are coming across those problems or opportunities. but most of your referrals will actually come from your contact sphere, your sphere of professions that can actually send you business.
Well, you said it's network.
Our largest chapter in the US has actually got over 140 members in.
Wow.
That's in South Carolina. Unfortunately, not mine. Wish it was, but maybe that'll happen to me one day. Yeah.
But as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, okay, like, because if I have an offline business, like locally, that makes a lot of sense. You find a group of people that are complementary to you, build a net, whether it's joining a group or building your own little power team, it's great. But that can easily, when we look at like the Kartra agencies that we have, right? Some people are email specialists, some people are Facebook advertising specialists. Like if they built a power team now, like, cause when you get a customer, like they're going to need ads, they're going to need emails, they're going to need SEO, they're going to need all these different things. And sometimes, especially for a lot of creators, it becomes overwhelming to have to build all of that out within your own business because it starts to go outside your area of expertise, right? Now, there is some people who can do it, but in general, a lot of people want to stay in their lane and just do the thing that they started out with, and they do it very, very well, and they're one of the best at it. This gives them a way to get lead flow from people who are the ideal client, but also give lead flow. And I think that's the important thing is in all of this, you have to be a champion referrer yourself. And so we go back to like, what's the best thing you do when you first show up? Well, the best thing you could do is already have an audience of your own, a customer base of your own, that you have to share with the right people, right? That's going to be your most valuable asset. And I mean, we have relied on affiliates now for over a decade, no matter what industry we've been in, what product we're selling, whether it's software, whether it's information marketing. Affiliates have been one of our biggest sources of lead and customer acquisition. And without them, we wouldn't be able to do things at the magnitude and the level we do. And a lot of that comes from having a good relationship with them, always delivering on promise and working with them. And then, back before software, we do a lot of affiliate promotions for other people as well. Right. And so, I think that's really, really, I love the idea of giving first. That's what I've always done in my career when I've met people is always like, well, how can I help you? It's how Sarah and I met actually. They were having an issue with something. I was like, oh, I could help that. I can fix that for you. I had an issue
with tech and I asked the number one lifter of weights for help in tech. I was like, this conversation is backwards, but that's fine because he had the answer.
Yeah, well, at least he knows how to pull his weight.
Yeah, exactly. But that started a relationship now that spans over 15 years, all from me being like, oh, to me, it was something I had figured out, not through desire, but through necessity. And, oh yeah, I know what your problem is. Let me take care of that for you. Well, the reciprocity that built, then it's like, well, how can we help you? And so as I'm listening to, the idea of a power team, like that is a concept I think the listeners really should grab onto and look around and say, well, who is my power team? And determine, like, based on what business you have, like who, you could probably map out the roles or the other services that should be what you're referring to. And then you just go look for those people. Yeah. You go to your audience.
There's a trick to the whole thing. Right. And, you think about all the professions that could refer. We know that a graphic designer and a web designer and SEO and digital marketing, they can refer to each other very easily. And the problem is with whatever we do, not everybody in Kartra is in that realm. Right. I'd say a lot of your customer base are coaches, life coaches, business coaches, all these different professions. And they're saying, well, who do I know that could be that person that could refer me more clients? So the one question you need to ask yourself is, well, it's two questions or a two-part question. Who is my ideal customer? I think in any business, I don't care what business you're in, everybody has a perfect customer that they would give up everything else to get. Right? They've got one person. Now, if we charge the same amount to every single customer, there's still one person because they're the one you enjoy working with the most. So if it's not price, it's got to be the one you enjoy working with. Ideally, it's both, the one that pays you the most and you enjoy working with, right?
Ideally, yes.
You've got to identify that ideal customer. Once you've done that, you say to yourself, who else will help my ideal customer? What other profession has to help my ideal customer? Now, easy example. If you're going to buy a house and you're not rich, you need a mortgage. Right? So you know that if a realtor is somebody that I need to work with, I need to know mortgage brokers to introduce me to realtors. That's the easiest way to do it. So who's your ideal customer and who do they work with apart from you? And that's who you need to build that relationship with. That's who you need. And you can start with one. You'll see how it works. Build that relationship. Remember, it's not a quick fix. It's going to take time to get there. And you may have already, the person you're trying to connect with may have already got somebody in that field. So not willing to build a relationship to pass referrals to you. That's okay. Not wasting time. It's practice. All right. Ideal customer. Who else works with that ideal customer? You will find that if you can gather 8 to 10 people that also work with your ideal customer, you'll create that team where you can actually refer to it. And now we do this in BNI. I mean, obviously, I'd like to say, hey, BNI is going to be the be all and end all. And to me, it is, because it's worked so well for me in my business. The cool thing about BNI now is all my chapters are back in person, but we can build online chapters.
Yeah.
So if I have somebody in Amarillo that wants to network with somebody in Lubbock, I can actually connect the two in a BNI chapter, and we can help them pass referrals. And with digital marketing especially, it is open to working with anybody anywhere in the world. With BNI, you get access to 300,000 members.
Yeah.
Not Lubbock. Come on, man.
Yeah, I know, Lubbock. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's great. So you're not limited by your demographic of space. Like who can get to the meeting? You're not limited by that anymore. I do think networking
I could look online to my database and I can find a BNI member in a profession that I want to connect with and start building a relationship with them no matter where they are in the world. Yeah. I've actually given referrals to BNI members in the UK. Obviously, I know a few people back there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. People move. People have friends that they say, hey, I've been in groups where, someone's like, hey, I'm trying to buy a car. I live here. Does anybody know, a loan officer, and that there's a connection there. And so I've seen the power of virtual referrals. How will you use it? Like looking at, you mentioned using Kartra earlier, BNI is mostly offline, obviously COVID, you guys went online, but you're now back in person. How do you tie all that in, with now together? How's it all coming together?
BNI is an awesome system to generate referrals. What I had with COVID was me not being able to network anymore because everything closed down. So how I built my business was going to Chamber of Commerce mixers, going to different networking events. Right?
Brilliant.
I networked to find new members for my networking groups. The problem was that kind of stopped. Right? So I said, I need to find a way to find new customers that didn't involve attending in-person networking event. And what that meant is I needed to look at creating landing pages, Facebook ads, all the fun stuff that's online that I didn't have a clue to do before now. Because I had to find it and create a whole new way. I mean, I literally have mission control here now with 3 webcams, a microphone, 3 screens. I literally do everything from here, networking and otherwise. And what I've managed to do is build networks online that I never even dreamt of before, like you guys there at Kartra. I've been with Kartra for a year and a half now, I think it is. So pretty much I found Kartra about 6 months after the pandemic started, and I've just been learning and building pages and opt-in pages, lead magnets to give away to try and find people that are also spending a lot more time online to actually generate leads for my business. I now use it to actually market and, well, I say market's the wrong word, communicate with my members as well, because I can actually do a lot more for my members. And I've created an online membership area where they can learn more about networking. So Kartra was a way for me to get online that I hadn't even dreamt of before.
So that's a really great segue to the next question that I actually had for you. Whether it was Kartra or another business that is on the internet, what are you using Kartra for? How do you get that online business for your then networking in-person stuff? I'm curious.
It's I'm creating basically a few videos, a few landing pages. I'm doing some paid marketing. It's paid for itself, so I'm not having a bad experience with it. But I found that I enjoy Kartra so much that I'm actually building pages for people. So I've kind of got a sideline going now where I'm actually building funnels and pages and recording videos, and got another network that I've connected with, which I'll introduce you guys. But it's Justin that owns Tools for Motivation, which is a big provider of PLR. So we network every couple of weeks now, and I'm starting to build funnels for their PLR.
That's so cool. So you have another side business.
Yes, unfortunately, I gave myself a lot of extra work to do, but I've actually got the time to do it. And this is the reason why. When I was networking in person, I used to drive around 4,000 to 5,000 miles a month, networking all over West Texas. I mean, my region is 110,000 square miles.
Okay.
So I was on the road 1 week out of 4, pretty much. So I've actually got an extra 70 hours, 80 hours a month where I'm not driving anymore, because I never went back to that driving and in-person networking all over the state. I've got people that do that for me now. So I've got the time to do extra fun stuff. Yeah. So yes, I'm now building funnels.
And I like what you said, like, however long a meeting is, let's say it's a couple hours once a month. Well, without the email, without the ability to send a virtual video or something like that, you're limited to how much information and content you can provide. And what it sounds like to me is you're able to expand their membership and use the online assets to create a bigger experience that goes beyond the meeting. Now, still, obviously for local businesses, meeting and personal, building those connections, to me, nothing beats in-person connection. But what beats in-person connection is in-person connection merged with online connection, right? And I say this to people. I still work with a lot of fitness businesses and different gyms. And what I tell them is, okay, your member comes, how many times a week do they work out on average? Most people, it's 2 to 3 times a week. So they're in your gym for maybe 6 hours tops a week, right? There's 24 hours in a day. How many hours can you infiltrate their life? Because the relationship you build with them is going to only get deeper the more you communicate with them, the more you provide them. Like they're going to cook their meals at home, they're going to stretch at home, they're going to do all these different things. How do you start to merge that? And I think it sounds like that's what you've figured out. And then from that, it spurred other people being like, hey, could you do this for me? People in your network are like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Like, could you help me? And because you have the time, you've been doing that.
But that's what networking is. I mean, you think about going back to your fitness example, even if they went every single day, they still wouldn't spend 8 to 10 hours a day there unless they actually work there, right? So the idea is, and networking is about giving and adding value. Doesn't matter what business you're in, but fitness is a great example. How do you add value to your members that are the regulars that keep coming back, right? You don't worry about people like me. I'm sorry, from here down, I look great. I mean, here up, I look great. But below, I'm a little bit, I've got the muscles in the wrong places. Let's put it that way. I've actually got a keg, not a six-pack. It's just one of those things I've got. But the idea is, if I can actually take a fitness gym, and I could actually network with the owner, and I can, create a way to help them find new clients through BNI, but then also teach them how to engage with their customers by adding value. And again, it comes back to developing a referral program, if you like, or an affiliate program, however you want to do it. Networking is a half of the battle regarding referrals. The other half is word of mouth marketing. It's talking about it. And that's where your affiliates come in. But it's the same with the gym. You want your customers having such a great experience that they talk to everybody else they know about it.
Exactly.
And even hold their hand and help them and say, yeah, I'm not just going to invite you to the gym. I'm going to go with you to the gym for the first 2 tries. I'm going to teach you some of the exercises that are going to help you get fitter. Not have to pay for a special coach to do that. And you get your customers on board to be excited about helping new customers. Yeah. What you've done is created an experience, and you've actually raised and elevated their experience, so they're actually more beholden to you, if you like, versus saying, oh, I can try any gym, right? You want them to have a reason to be there.
Right.
And it's the same with every business.
They're also, when you recommend something, they're going to trust you and treat it differently, because they're going to value that opinion better because you are such an influence within their life. And I think that then makes you, now you're able to refer someone, if I was a gym owner, I could refer a food prep company And
Yeah.
if I'm actually communicating with my customers on a regular basis, like they're more likely to try the food prep company because they have a better relationship with me. So now you're going to be a better referral partner for your power team than you would if you're just, oh, hi, Sally, when she walks in the gym. And that's the only time you say hello,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, you've heard this phrase, I'm sure, know, like, and trust. One, I've got to know you exist. I can't give you a referral or help you if I know nothing about you, right? I've got to like you. If I really don't like you, I really don't want to help you. I mean, it's just kind of human nature. You just, luckily we're getting to know each other. This is the first time we've talked in person, but, you get to that like stage and you like somebody, you're going to be able to give them referrals, but you really got to trust them to give them people you know. Right? If I meet somebody on the street that says, do you know a good gym? I'm going to recommend your gym. But if I'm going to recommend a friend or a family member or somebody I know well, I'm going to have to trust you before I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to have all three parts of the puzzle. I mean, a lot of people think customer service does it. Customer service does not help you get referrals.
Right. Experience does. Yeah.
Yeah. Experience helps you get referrals. Customer service, all that does is, if you get it right, is stop people going somewhere else. Right? It could be the best food in a restaurant, but if you get bad customer service, you don't want to go back there no matter how good the food is.
Exactly.
Right? So you need good service. You need good customer service to keep the customer. You don't need good customer service to get the customer.
Fantastic point.
So someone else saying you're great is much more powerful than your staff saying you're great, or you saying you're great. Of course, you think you're great. Of course, your staff thinks
Why
you're
do you think
great.
Facebook calls it recommendations? I mean, they did it for a reason, right? It's banks advertise that most of our customers come from referrals. I mean, people know how powerful that is. It's like, well, if that's the case, why do you still advertise? But we can cover that on another topic. Yeah. But yeah, it's know, like, and trust. Three key parts to all of it. And you've got, I don't know how many members you've got in Kartra, but you've got over 18,000 people in your Facebook group. And a lot of those are now developing friendships over the years. Some of them are just lurkers, just watching from the distance, right? But a lot of them are friends and getting connected. Same as I'm making friends with Shannon and Valerie and a few of the others in your team now. I'm getting to know them. We're building relationships. And again, know, like, and trust. Nobody trusts me completely yet that's in Kartra, but they're getting to know me. They're hopefully getting to like me, aside from the accent.
We forgive that.
And eventually they will get to trust me based on the experience they have with me adding value and giving to their relationship.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a much more long-term sustainable model too, because like you say, advertising is up and down. And I think advertising is like adding, the gasoline on the fire, but if you are constantly just having to spend money to acquire new customers, the problem with that is that you run into competition, you run into hurdles, you run into platforms increasing ad costs. And so the reality is that word of mouth marketing, which comes from relationship marketing, can be such a huge part of your business that it takes the pressure off that paid media. And paid media can scale, paid media can grow, but at the end of the day, if you don't have customers who are advocates, you don't have customers who will go and shout from the rooftops, it doesn't matter how many people you bring in the front end, that's their experience too. And so you're never going to get that hockey stick growth that everybody looks for, everybody hopes that they have. In times where, like Google, when they did their slap on advertisers, if that's your only source of leads, well, all of a sudden you got to go figure out a new platform and learn a new platform. So you have to hedge your bets. And that's kind of, that's as you start to scale, these things become more important. But I think especially for like someone who is newer to business or is newer to networking, the reason it's so powerful is that nobody can take away your network. Like Google can shut your ads off, Facebook can shut your ads off, platforms can, like Twitter got bought out. He said, no, we're not running ads anymore. We're changing the model here. So if you have just a source that suddenly is gone, it's a dangerous thing to just have one way to get new customers, Well,
and I think it's leads versus relationships. It's sort of why we started the podcast too. We wanted to show our customers that we're going to give back content. We're going to give you ways to help in your business, whether you buy Kartra or not. Like, it's aside from that, but we're going to tell you what we think is best for your company. We're going to interview the best people we can find to help you with your business, whether you go with us or not. And then that's more relationship than a lead. It's a different mindset.
Yeah. I think the mindset really needs to be lead is a 4-letter word. Right? Any of you that want leads for your business is doing it all wrong. You actually want prospects, ideal customers that are going to buy from you. And it doesn't matter whether it's through relationship marketing or advertising. You want to have the right person come to you, because if all you're doing is getting leads, you're just filling up your email list with people that are never going to buy from you, right? I don't know what the conversion rate is for people getting through to try Kartra for a couple of weeks and then staying on after the couple of weeks. I know what my conversion rate is, and I know what my retention rate is for my first year versus long term. I know that if a member renews after the first year, on average, they stay with me for 3 years.
That's great.
Right? Now, get an extra couple of years out of them, right? If they don't renew in the first year, I've lost them for good. They very rarely come back. If I get them for 5 years, I can pretty much guarantee you, unless they change jobs or relocate, I'm going to keep them. I actually have a member in Odessa that's been with me for 20 years.
Wow.
Right?
Awesome.
In the same BNI chapter, right? I look at everything we do. There's got to be about the people we know. I mean, forget what's going on in the world. If you only have a local business, you need to get to know every local business around you. And you need to get to know them well, because even if you compete with them, there's an opportunity. Because they may not have what they may not have what that person wants, and they can send them down to the road to you. You'll also find your contact sphere, because you'll find there's certain areas of town where the trades stick together or the business to business stick together, or whatever it is. Build your network locally if you haven't got time to do it online, or go out a little bit further.
Yeah.
Network online. And I don't mean follow somebody on Facebook and just watch them post information. Actually engage and put comments on the posts. Have conversations with people. That's how we get to build relationships, right? So whatever business you've got, find people that you want to get to know, that you like, that you'll trust because you like them, and that can help you build your network, because you just never know who they might know.
And honestly, people like you and what you're saying and what you're doing. And then you're commenting and liking on stuff that you're promoting that generally serves, because you like that person for a reason, right? And then they like you for a reason. So it's sort of the same atmosphere. So you're not bringing them to somewhere they're uncomfortable. You're bringing them somewhere they feel great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest. I mean, I comment on purpose. I don't comment because I like something. It's, it depends on who it is in my network. I'm actually adding value to the relationship, because even if that post wasn't about something I'm interested in, by commenting on the post, I'm adding value to our relationship. I'm giving to our relationship because they get the extra exposure. Mm-hmm. So even if it's not relevant to me, it might sound like it's, a little bit underhand. It's not. I'm helping a person I know, like, and trust. Yeah. There's nothing bad about that.
And I think I picked up something there. You said, like, build your local network. But I think that mindset goes online too, right? There's a thing called the Dunbar's number, and that's essentially that you can only have 150 meaningful relationships. So if you're online, that's what you have to look at too. Like, build think local online. You might be all over the world, but you're only going to build 150 deep relationships. So pick those wisely and actually spend time on those. You might have 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 followers. That's one thing, right? And that's the difference. Like Instagram, you have followers. TikTok, you have followers. YouTube, you have subscribers. Facebook, you have friends, right? And so on these platforms, you have to really understand like what a relationship is. And a relationship is spending time together. And so, in person, you're going to have conversations. Online, are you having conversations? And you have to start to look at that. And everything you've shared today around building referrals is only going to work if you're committed to building those relationships, if you're committed to giving first before getting, if you're committed to being a good referral partner for others, right? And if you do that, and if you have 50, 100, 150 deep relationships that those people will refer to you. You mentioned earlier, 8 or 10 people is all that most people need. So when you start looking at that, you might say, okay, I'm going to spend time on 150, but I only need 10% of these people to actually reciprocate, to start to build those relationships. So I'm going to put out that work, that effort, like you said, network, right? I'm going to put in the work and the effort, and that's going to come back, and I'm going to bear my fruit. I'm going to plant the seed today, and then in 6, 8, 12, maybe a couple of years, that is going to come to harvest. And I've seen people spend a decade doing this, and where they were 10 years ago to where they are today, people go, well, how did you do that? Well, they showed up every day, they built relationships, and they put in the work.
Absolutely. And I use Dunbar's number in my training all the time. I mean, to elaborate slightly, I mean, 150 is the number that you can effectively manage, right? We all like the idea of having lots of followers, lots of connections, because it's an ego thing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I would love 18,000 people in my Facebook page, right? It's probably not going to happen. But I don't, you look at the Facebook page and the comments and that, even an 18,000 person Facebook page ends up with at best 10, 20, 30 comments on a post. Mm-hmm. Those are people who are engaged, following and helping. And I can think of a few of those, and I'm sure you've got those on the list that you're going to talk to. The Dunbar's number is a great way to actually pick a way to, how do I phrase this? Make a list, right? It's like if you had a piece of paper, it had 150 spaces on it. You start by writing down 150 people that you already know that you want to keep in your relationship. There is nothing wrong with saying, I never want to speak to that person again. Even if they're a relative, right? It's okay. You don't necessarily do it, but you kind of separate it out and say, well, I'd like to get them out, right? But I guess they've got to be on my list. But
whisper that to yourself.
Exactly.
There goes Aunt Patty.
Yeah. And you've got to look at that 150 or however many you wrote down and say, what are my top 5? Let's have coffee together. Let's have a lunch together. Just start with your top 5 that are the most important for you right now. And explain what you're doing. Teach them what you're doing. Because if they understand why you're doing it, they'll want to do the same thing. And they may have a slightly different 5. And they're slightly different 5. You end up with 5 people, with 5 different people each. You end up with a network of 25 people that are starting to get to know each other and build relationships. And it's just like that.
Mm. Oh, right? That's great.
And then when you've got your 5, you can expand it.
Yeah, that ripple effect, it's super powerful.
Yeah, I have like 4,000 friends, and I thought 150 was like excessive. I was like, I can't talk to that many people.
And you don't need to. And I think that's the point. And I think that's the real takeaway here is that it's about the depth of the relationship, not how many people.
Quality or quantity.
And, it's the same as the concept of 1,000 true fans. You know, if you have 1,000 true fans, like you can make all the money you need to live, and I think that's kind of the point is that relationships, especially in today's day and age, like you have to go deeper on your relationships. Like most people are very surface level. Most people are liking and, whatever, but like, are they commenting? Are they engaging? Are they showing up? Right? Like a lot of virtual companies have in-person events. Like, are you investing in yourself by going to the events? Are you investing in yourself by joining those higher groups? So that you can build the deeper relationships with the people you want to build. And I think that, like you said, if you're local, a thing like BNI is essential because you're creating an environment that facilitates this. So it takes a little bit of pressure off of you having to do it yourself. But, for those that aren't necessarily, a local business or they're more inclined to do it themselves, what we've shared today and what Steve shared especially, like that's the blueprint. You don't like take this concept of, I've got to build 1 million followers to be successful. Now, yes, if you have 1 million followers, you're probably going to be successful, but you're only going to be successful off of a tiny percentage of those people. And I think that's the real key. Like you could have 10,000 followers with 100 deep relationships, and you're going to probably make more money and be more profitable than someone who has 1 million followers, but has 0 relationships with any of those.
Which is really important when you've got a Kartra account, because it's 12,500. You have to upgrade to the next level. Seriously,
you have to.
No, just joking aside. If you think about your business, and it doesn't matter what business, think about affiliate marketing. I mean, your podcast is paid to. Sorry, what was the name of the podcast again? I mean, it was
Paid to Create.
Paid to Create.
I thought I was going to say that. I mean, I just cut this bit out of the podcast. But the idea is, if you're an online business, you want to market online, you're building your business online, you're using Kartra to build your platform, think about referrals as affiliates. Find the best 5 affiliates that you can build relationship with and make those affiliates feel special. Don't just say, I need as many affiliates as possible, because you'll end up with 3,000 affiliates that might make a little bit of money here and there, and you'll get one sale from this one and one sale from the other one. Look for affiliates, build relationships and network with your affiliates, add value to those affiliates by either giving away exclusive, free stuff, whatever it is that you do that they can benefit from, and just find 5 really good ones. And it doesn't matter the size of their list, because if they have a good list, it's going to get you results, right?
That's
and
true.
you find 5, and those 5 tell their friends about you. Guess what? You do the interview and you bring them into your circle and you grow your affiliates. You don't just suddenly get mass affiliates, you grow your affiliates. Build out your affiliates gradually by networking. I mean, it's an identical process. Without the relationships, you've just got people promoting your products and hoping they get a sale. They might even be promoting it to the wrong ideal customer, in which case an affiliate's useless to you.
Mm.
We've actually discovered that more and more as we go. We've had thousands of affiliates, but the ones that bring us, the 10, 20 clients that they've walked themselves into Carter, that, hey, you have to try this thing. You have to understand that this can help you grow your business. Those clients stay forever. And so do those affiliates. So we're giving those affiliates, now that we've learned some of this system, our affiliates are getting more of our attention and our love, because they're bringing that quality customer that could utilize our system and then maximize it for the benefit.
Yeah, it goes back to the whole quality over quantity. And it's
absolutely. And that's, kind of what I'm doing with the funnels. It's like I'm building the funnels. I've partnered with a PLR company. Hopefully we're going to develop funnels for that PLR. I'm actually going to talk to their members. I'm not just going to market it out there in the big wide world and hope I sell a template now and again. I want to build a relationship and a network with their customers, which I've been doing for the last couple of years, about the same time as I got onto Kartra. So now I've got these networks that I've actually put together, which creates a niche for my market.
Very cool.
Or niche, depending on whether you're from the US or from Europe. I'm just,
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is, as an example for you personally, is that you never know where these things lead, right? You never know the person you meet, what that relationship's going to turn into. Like it may not be a direct referral, but it may be a business partner. It may be this. So like the concept of building that relationship and being open to the possibilities of what may transcend from that, I think is really, really key. And going in with that mindset is going to avoid a lot of those awkward conversations. When someone says, what do you do? And you're like, well, I do this, and this is how you can help me. And it's like, people are interested in what's in it for them. They're interested in for that long-term relationship. So I think, there's a lot of takeaways today, and I appreciate you being here. Is there anything you wanted to share that we haven't covered?
No, I'm just going to add one thing to this. I mean, I don't know which episode of the podcast this is going to be. I really appreciate being here and getting this opportunity, but it didn't happen overnight. I've been networking and getting to know people in Kartra for the last couple of years. And I've been invited on this podcast to talk in front of however many listeners, viewers we're going to have. That, to me, is my 2-year investment in networking coming to fruition.
Yeah. I would say millions, but after this podcast, I'm going to say 150 valuable people. That's how many we're going to read. Yeah. We're going to add some scarcity in here.
We'll cut off the subscription at 149, right? But no, I'm going to add one little thing. Go to a BNI chapter. It's normally free to attend. You might have to pay for lunch or breakfast, depending on the time of the meeting. Just go to a BNI meeting. Check it out. Get to meet some people. If you like it, you'll get invited to apply to be a member. If it's not for you, that is absolutely fine as well. But you've got to get out. Just go to BNI.com. If you're not in my area, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you're in my area, it's time we started networking and getting to know each other.
So cool. Steve, how can people follow you directly if they want to do that?
Easiest way to do that, I've actually set up a separate brand, which I'm doing kind of my marketing and coaching from, called letstalkreferrals.com. I've got a website out. It's on Kartra. I started a podcast about 8 weeks ago, just doing 10 to 15 minute kind of talks on different topics. So just go to the website. There's a place to subscribe. I'd be happy to network with you, get to know you, and build a relationship.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here. Sarah's taken notes. I've taken notes. It's been a great episode. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate your time. Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks everyone for listening to the Paid to Create podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.
I just have to tell you about Kartra, the marketing platform that has seriously transformed my business. You know how running a business can be insanely time consuming, right? Well, Kartra has been a game changer for me. It's honestly like having an entire marketing team in my pocket. And what I love most is that it automates all the tedious daily tasks for me, from marketing to sales to even customer experience. I can't believe how much time and energy I've saved since I started using it. And get this. With Kartra, I can create websites, funnels, courses, membership sites, email campaigns, calendars, surveys, you name it. It's made managing my business so much simpler and more affordable. Honestly, I can't recommend Kartra enough. If you're curious, head to paidcreatepodcast.com/Kartra to start your trial. Trust me, you won't regret it.